It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Metro Nashville Police have charged Titans outside linebacker Bud Dupree with misdemeanor assault in an alleged incident hours after the team's victory on Sunday over the Miami Dolphins. The incident was at a local Walgreens. Again, that is Bud Dupree charged with misdemeanor assault. A video has been circulating on social media obtained by Broadway Sports. Titans did activate Julio Jones, Jayon Brown, and Kendall Lamb from the COVID list and placed tight end Michael Pruitt on IR on Monday, while Derrick Henry watch continues on his birthday today as the Titans reportedly are discussing designating him to return to practice this week. Mike Vrabel spoke to the media about it on Monday.
Yeah, we've discussed it. We'll see where that goes. He's doing some work today, and we'll see when that window opens, and probably make a decision midweek.
The Preds are on the West Coast for the next 3 games, starting tonight at the Vegas Golden Knights. Puck drops at 9 p.m. Nashville currently sits second in the Central Division behind St. Louis. College hoops, Vanderbilt opens its SEC slate tonight, hosting Arkansas in Memorial Gym. That's a 7:30 tip-off. Meanwhile, Lipscomb begins ASUN play at Allen Arena, hosting North Alabama at 7 o'clock. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5. The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, let's do this Tuesday edition. How's everybody doing? Beautiful day outside. There's lots going on. There's a lot going on. Lots and lots of stuff going on. There's something that we mentioned just briefly yesterday, and this is sort of the top of the Nashville news cycle involving Titans outside linebacker Bud Dupree. And there was an outlet yesterday, Nashville Scoop, I think, Lucas, that kind of first reported there was something going on with him in an incident at a Walgreens with some of his people and him and an employee and potential incident. And so this is from WKRN from just a few minutes ago. Titans linebacker Bud Dupree has been issued a misdemeanor assault citation following an altercation. I'm reading here. I don't want to mess this up because it's law related. Following an altercation at a Germantown Walgreens Sunday evening, police were called to Walgreens on Rosa L. Parks just after 8 p.m. Sunday after 2 employees were injured. According to the police, the dispute started after a male employee began taking video of Dupree with his phone. A 20-year-old male employee was treated for a cut to his forehead, and a 21-year-old female employee was treated for a cut to her hand. Police said Dupree and his attorney met with detectives Tuesday morning at the Hermitage Precinct. His attorney also met with detectives Monday afternoon. So there's more of this. It says the victim signed the citation as the 20-year-old victim signed the citation as the prosecutor. Dupree is to report for booking on the citation in 3 weeks. There's another story that essentially said it laid out what you could get for this fine-wise or if you did any time, but it said if you're a first-time offender, usually you just take an anger management class, and that's the end of it. There is some video of this. Broadway Sports has it, and a lot of people it's on their website. Now everybody's copied it, so if you just search Bud Dupree video on Twitter, and it's a short snippet of video, and it looks essentially, Blaine, like Bud Dupree pulling people out of a fight and someone yelling his name and cursing, and then the video ends.
Oh, because he supposedly, I guess, broke up a fight or shoving match or whatever.
In the video, and Lucas, have you seen this?
I haven't seen
Maybe
the
you
video.
haven't seen it yet.
All
It just
11
came
seconds,
out.
No.
In the video, he appears. It starts with him appearing to pull a lady out of an altercation, and he winds up sort of on the backside of the altercation, and then there's like another guy in his jersey yelling, who starts to walk towards whomever has the phone and is taping, and that's about the whole thing. There's a lot of yelling and scuffling around, but I don't see Bud Dupree scuffling with anybody as much as I see Bud Dupree pulling a lady out of it.
It's an 11-second video, right?
Yeah.
So more happened outside of that, but as far as tangible, what we can see, that's all you got.
Oh, well, it sounds like if this wasn't Bud Dupree, nobody would be talking about it, right?
100%. If this
Correct.
was Lucas Panzica, Mickey Ryan.
I don't know. I think everybody would be talking about
If
it.
it was
Lucas
Blaine
Panzica,
Bishop, there might be some people
because
talking about
then it would be a part on the other side of his head when he be. No, I'm just kidding.
But
No, I'm just
if this
kidding.
is, the guy that mows your lawn, nobody is talking about it. Or the guy that, you buy pants from, or the lady who
Right.
does your
Well,
nails.
at least it was something, at least at this point in time, as what we see. Nothing serious. So no suspension by Titans or the NFL or anything like that. If it's a misdemeanor, I'm assuming I don't know how many guys have gotten suspended for misdemeanor. I don't think any.
No.
But so that's, kind of where we're looking at it from. So.
Yeah, I tend to keep
We'll
it
see.
moving. Yeah, in these situations, and charged at News Channel 5 now. They've got a story out from a few minutes ago. Is charged with misdemeanor assault following a fight that took place at a Germantown Walgreens.
So he wasn't the one actually, at least from the video, actually the one in the altercation. He was pulling people out of the altercation.
In the video that was released to the public
Right,
by
from what
Broadway
we saw.
Sport. Yeah, in the 11 seconds that we saw, there's no altercating with Bud Dupree.
At all.
There's
Gotcha.
de-escalating. Really,
Right,
he's
doing-
pulling someone out of
Right.
it. So, anyway, still, we'll just.
Do we know who what the relationship is with the person he was pulling out? It's a lady, right? You said.
Mm-hmm. It's a lady in the video, but now that I don't know. Channel 5 basically is reporting most of the same stuff that Channel 2 is. A group of people entered the store to shop, and some of those people got into an argument with one of the store's employees. They left and returned with Dupree. This is the report, it says Dupree grabbed the employee and his phone, initiating a physical altercation between the two before Dupree left the store. Now, that part is not in the video that got released.
Oh.
That's not in the video.
Ooh. He took the guy's phone. I guess he was videoing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the guy videoing, what was released doesn't have any of that, and the reports all say that they went and got Bud Dupree. So was he getting videoed? Then he left and went in the car. Like, I'm going to the car, and then they came back and got him again. I have questions.
Oh.
An important clarification that Emily Proud gave us earlier on the Buck Rising show, that he's being charged with assault for fear of bodily injury. So it's a misdemeanor assault charge for fear of bodily injury, not an actual injury that was inflicted by Dupree.
So fear of bodily injury. So he told him that he was going to sack him? No, I'm not trying to, make. I mean, so basically we're talking about his words.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got you. Oh, well, hey.
That the victim
It could always be worse.
The victim felt threatened, felt fear for bodily injury at the time.
I wonder if he felt that when he even walked in the store. Yeah. Some people, get scared of just big human beings. Some get fear of reputation. So there's that could go a lot of different ways there.
It allegedly started for somebody videotaping Dupree, right? That was the alleged initial report, that him and the people he was with were upset about that.
They were videoing him. I wonder what he was doing.
Just being Bud Dupree.
Being Bud Dupree?
Just being famous.
So that's what this has to do. Oh, okay.
Being famous in a Walgreens.
Oh, man. Yeah, watch where you go. Can't even go to Walgreens. Walgreens getting a lot of pub out of this.
What was it like for you in the heyday of the Titans when you went places?
Totally different than now. And I say that in context with there wasn't social media.
Yeah.
If there was social media right now, I don't think I'd be going too much anywhere if I'm playing for the Titans.
But even Nashville was different, right?
Yeah.
Nashville's totally different. Yeah, totally different. City has grown. It's huge now. So, when you got, TMZ here, I mean, then that tells you where we're at. We have arrived as a city and a state, so, they have their own, Nashville, TMZ. So it's, just got to know you're always a target at the end of the day.
I had a friend who played baseball for the Texas Rangers, and he was one of the middle relief guys. So he was the biggest. He was not a star on the team. He was on the team. And we went down to see him, and he said, okay, I don't normally do this, but we're going to go out because you guys are in town. And he said, you just have to know, and this was the 90s. There was no cell phones, no nothing like that. He said, you just have to know everywhere we go, there are going to be people who are real nice to me, and there are going to be people who are not nice to me. And he said, there's going to be drunk guys who they're better than me, and they can hit my fastball. And he goes, just whatever they say, you guys don't say anything. And I'm not going to say anything because I don't want this to escalate. Don't do it. Like he told us this before we went out, and I thought, that's crazy. You're on the Rangers. Everybody loves the Rangers. Sure enough, first place we go, drunk guy all over him. You really think you're big stuff, don't you? He's like, I sure don't. I don't think I'm big stuff. You have a great night, man. What are you drinking? I'll buy your next one. You all night long.
I love this voice.
Yeah, I'm going to. You lost to the A's last week. He's like, I sure did, but I'll get them next time. This happened everywhere we went, so I can't imagine. I just can't imagine what that would be like. But he told us before we went out, there'll be some people who are really nice to me, and there'll be some people who are not nice. You guys, and he said this to me, like, what am I going to say? But there were other guys too. Hey, don't be mouthy. Don't say anything. Just sit at the table. Let's enjoy ourselves. If it gets bad enough, we'll just leave. We'll come back here. Come back home. And this is a middle reliever for the Rangers in the 90s with no cell phones, no TMZ,
Well, they had cell phones. They just didn't have a recording.
I don't know.
They had flip phones in the
flip phone in a
mid-90s.
bag then. Yeah, I guess,
Or you had the big one.
the one in a bag.
Yeah,
May I had that.
Yeah.
We have this is what the call screener says. We have an anonymous cop who is calling about Bud Dupree on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Let's see what we got here.
Break
Hello.
it down for us. Break it down.
Hello, anonymous. Yeah, what do you got?
Appreciate it.
Hey, how you guys doing? I don't need the woke crowd coming after me, but pretty much. I mean, I'm not Davidson County, so it's not a big deal. But it's fairly easy for anybody to take out a warrant for assault if there was altercation and the person feels like they were assaulted. I mean, they can take out the charge, and then it goes to court. Now, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it is a misdemeanor that was not committed in the presence of a police officer. So it's fine. But one thing you do have to remember is in order for the lawsuit to proceed, there has to be somebody on, if I'm gonna sue Bud Dupree has to have done something to me. Right? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
This is, he could have, they could have said, hey, he touched me or he did this and it caused this injury, whatever. This happens all the time. There's absolutely nothing that's going to come of this. It's going to be one of those things that goes away just as quick as it came along. But you have to remember, NFL superstar, Walgreens employee. So, that's where I'm coming from. This happens all the time. It's not uncommon for people to take out warrants for assault or simple assault, and it is actually an assault to threaten somebody. So, it's.
Do we know if
it's not going to go?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you don't know. You weren't there. Do we know what they said to Bud Dupree? No, I'm talking to you and Lucas. I think he hung up.
Yeah, I think we lost his call. He's still there. But he was having some issues with the line.
Sure. We don't know what Bud Dupree, but see, we don't know what was said to him, and then maybe he said something back. Yeah.
Well,
goes on all the time.
Two sides to every story, and that's what people forget. There's two sides to every story. So before you get too crazy one way or the other, and we've tried to be fair with this. Everybody on the station, I think, tries to be fair with things like this. Trying to be fair to both sides. We read the police report according to Channel 2 and Channel 5, read the story. We told you what we saw in the video. And as Lucas said, it's only 11 seconds of video, so maybe there's some more of it. But we'll continue to tell you what we know. But there was
not very much.
That was a law enforcement official saying things like this do happen. And anybody can go to the police and say, this person said this person did this. Then it gets sorted out from there. So we're in the sorted out stage. We got Eric Eager on just a minute. Let's take another quick phone call right quick. Mitch in Brentwood wanted to check in on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Mitch, thanks for calling.
Hey, guys. How are you? I feel like I was a borderline stalker of Blaine back in the 99, 2000, 2001. I think we lived on the same side of town and used to be at the same places like Nippers Corner and whatnot.
Yeah.
One thing I do remember, I think we had a kid the same age, and seeing Blaine in the Babies R Us. And, if you're a guy and you go to the Babies R Us, the registry, the wife gets to pick everything out. All they give you is that little gun to scan
the
CC code, and that's kind of cool. I kind of looked over at Blaine. he looked at me, but we kind of shook our head like, ah,
yeah, we're both gunned up, man.
It's good to see y'all. Take care.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. And I would see people like at stores all the time because I was out, and about. So I was out and about. I felt like I knew everybody in the city really. But when I really met a lot of people was when my son was born and he was in the ICU and he was born literally, at 32 weeks. And then meeting so many families, the kids are sitting there and your kid is there and you don't have no idea if he's going to make it or not make it.
Man.
And all those things. And I run into so many people still today, and our kids wrote up, and they named them my name or just our conversations, getting to know those families, going in there daily for, I don't know, months at a time. So that was pretty unique in itself, and I still continue to run into those people today. So it was tons of families that, I knew nothing about the ICU and all of that, and what was that process like? But, seeing your kid at 2 pounds,
That's scary.
It was real scary.
Yeah.
Real scary.
Well, that rascal grew up big and strong.
No.
Playing football now. Look at him.
I don't know about that.
But,
He's
hey,
trying.
man, shout out, thoughts and prayers to anybody who's dealing with something like that right now, for
Yeah,
sure.
no
Because I know
doubt,
you've talked
no
about
doubt.
you guys.
Ooh, that was touchy, man. That was, wow.
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
Hurt.
Eric Eager from Pro Football Focus set to join us next. Are the Titans like the worst number 1 seed in history? All these storylines that have been coming. Let's talk to a Pro Football Focus guy about it next. It's Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Eric Eager will be on just a second, but Chase from Van Leer will lead us off in this segment because he was kind enough to hold through the break. Chase, what's going on, man? Thanks for calling Blaine and Mickey.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I was just going to say with Bud Dupree, I think he's being charged because he told his friends to go get that dude's phone at the end of the video, and that's whenever they ended up slapping it out of his hand. But I'll hang up and listen.
Okay.
Oh. But they actually did the act? Like, he told them to go get that out of, but he shouldn't be charged for telling somebody to do something. They should be the one charged if they did the action.
Well, he's the Titan.
He's the superstar, right?
Gosh.
Oh, man, that's a touchy-feely one there. It's man, see, that's what you can't go anywhere, man. That's a, man, good Lord.
And imagine if you're, Prince or Elvis or Taylor Swift, what are you going to do? You can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Gotta have a lot of people, watch this. Gotta do a lot of door dashing. Not just kidding.
Well, there's stories about Dolly Parton.
Gotta lighten the load here, man. It get too serious for me here.
There's stories Dolly Parton said she and her husband, if they want Sonic, they drive an RV to Sonic. I've read this story a bunch of times. She said, we don't just go and park our car, but they have a little RV that they drive, and he'll get out and go get the food, and then they'll sit there and eat it. That's where we are. Eric Eager. Eric, you been in any Walgreens altercations lately, or are you trying to keep things together in 2022? How you doing?
Yeah, I finished 2021 with a little bit, like I coach Little League basketball. And there were a couple altercations. Somebody tried to fight a referee, and I had to step in. And but other than that, I think I've been pretty clean.
Yeah, you seem like that kind of guy. We figure you're, keep your nose pretty clean. That's why we like to have you on the show.
Just like Mickey.
No shocking reports of you or anything. So I'll ask you this. How surprised are you that the Titans are where they are with Derrick Henry playing in 8 games this year? If somebody told you before the season, Derrick Henry's going to play 8 games, maybe he can come back for the postseason. He's going to play the first 8 and miss the rest. Oh, by the way, the Titans will be the number 1 seed in the AFC if they can beat the Texans on the last Sunday.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's a few parts, and Ryan Tannehill not playing all that well, right? Like that's another part of the equation that I think makes it all the more surprising. But I think it's a few parts, right? It's the playing the Texans, playing a division where 2 of the teams are not very good, and then you caught the good team before the Derrick Henry injury twice, right? I think that certainly that ordering helps. It also helps to have Mike Vrabel, who appears to be a wonderful head coach, who does a good job of sort of really getting the players up to play, getting players acclimated to a system when you're playing 90 or 100 unique players during the season like that. That obviously stems from great coaching, being able to cover up a lot of that stuff. A lot of luck. I mean, the AFC, you look at it, the Buffalo Bills, have lost more games than anybody expected them to. The Kansas City Chiefs have lost 5 or more games for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era. Baltimore, got a lot of injuries, took a step back this year. Even Pittsburgh and Cleveland were not nearly as good as people thought that they were going to be. So, I think it's been a nice ride here, and the question becomes for Tennessee, can they, sort of continue to press this edge now that they're very likely going to get the only bye in the AFC.
So do you fall in the line of there are, analytical type guys who have said, well, the Titans are the worst number 1 seed ever if this thing goes ahead and happens, and they haven't called them a terrible team or anything, but the commentary about the Titans hasn't been flattering. Where do you fall on, the DVOA or some of these other metrics? Oh yeah, this is the worst number 1 seed ever.
Well, I don't think that there are going to be people who come out and look at the metrics, but the fact is it's also hard. If Derrick Henry doesn't play for half the season, then they're not going to be as good, right? But does that mean once Derrick Henry comes back on the field that they're not going to be good? I think that there's a lot missing there, right? So, no A.J. Brown for much of the season, no Julio Jones for much of the season, the offensive line being banged up. Drafting a corner in the first round and then having him, fall out of the season with an injury, I do think there's value in trying to predict these things, right? Like if you're a Titans fan, you do want to know, right? Like, hey, we are the number one seed, but that doesn't mean we're going to be huge favorites against whoever comes into Nashville in the second round of the playoffs. Like, as a fan, I would probably want to know that. But at the same time, like, I think it's a little bit of a cheap shot to take a shot at the Titans, who, like, went into Los Angeles, for example, and beat a Rams team when they were completely banged up. So, like, I see a little bit of both sides of it. Like, for example, here's a question: are the Chiefs better than the Titans? I think it's reasonable to say no because the Titans killed them when they had all their players. But I also think it's reasonable to say yes because I do think if the Chiefs go to Tennessee in the AFC Championship game, they'll probably be favored in the betting market. So, like, I see sort of both sides of the argument there.
Eric Eager, Pro Football Focus. You can follow him at PFF_Eric.
Well, Eric, you guys are a lot smarter than us, and almost on the line with Vegas most of the time. Based off your grading system, who are the number one seeds? And I don't even know if you guys do this for the AFC and the NFC. And then after that, are those the same teams that you predict make to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think so. We do have, we do believe that Kansas City and I believe Green Bay are the top two teams in the NFL at their specific conferences. But again, like, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to sort of, like, here's the thing. Even if the Chiefs are better than the Titans, the Titans have such an advantage over them because they don't have to play the first game. Like, the Chiefs, I think in all likelihood, are going to play the Chargers in round one. The Chiefs are probably 60-40 to beat the Chargers in the first round. So if you say in like you say 100 simulations of the universe, the Titans are going to make it to the second round, 100 of them, and the Chiefs are going to make it to the second round, 60 of them. I'm going to bet on the Titans, even if I think the Chiefs are a little bit better, because it's just that advantage that the one seed has. So we do believe that if the Chiefs do get to round two or get to the AFC title game against the Titans, they would be favored. But the Titans have such an advantage because of where they're going to be in the seeding, probably, assuming that they can beat Houston this week.
I'm going to ask you a tough question, that is, because it's a historical question, is how many teams, and I asked this a little bit yesterday, that had the bye won the Super Bowl? Not make the Super Bowl, but won the Super Bowl. And I think I only can recall the Chiefs, maybe.
Well, so
at least in modern time.
Last year's Tampa Bay team was
they had
the first team since 2012. So every single team that made the Super Bowl from 2013 to 2019 had a bye in the first round.
Right, but I said won the Super Bowl.
Well, but every single
Tampa Bay won it naturally.
Every team that makes the Super Bowl, every single team that won the Super Bowl had to make it in the first place. So are you talking about the number one seed?
Yes.
Or are you talking about
they had a bye week? Have a bye.
Well, yeah. So previous to last year, right? The 1 and the 2 had the bye, and from 2013 to 2019, every single team that made the Super Bowl had to use the bye to get there. The Ravens in 2012 were the last team before Tampa Bay this previous year to go to the Super Bowl and win it without the benefit of a bye. Now the 1 seed's a little trickier, right? Because for example, in 2019 the Chiefs were the 2 seed. 2018 the Chiefs the Patriots were the 2 seed. 2017, now the Eagles were the 1 seed, and I think this is actually a really good reason to point out to Tennessee fans who are a little down about people talking mess about their team. In 2017, remember the Eagles had an injury to Carson Wentz, but they still had the 1 seed, and they were underdogs in the divisional round to the Falcons. In the divisional round, beat them, and then were underdogs to Minnesota at home in the NFC Championship game, beat them, and then they were underdogs to the Patriots in the Super Bowl and beat them. And I think the Titans might end up with a similar circumstance, not because of an injury to their quarterback, but it's because of injuries to players like A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry. I think people are forgetting how good the Titans are when they are full strength. And that was the one where the 1 seed playing home games in the playoffs matters a lot, especially to a team like Tennessee that's going to be getting healthy.
Man, Eric Eager, man, spitting the knowledge, man. I appreciate that because I did not know that. I guess how much does the Titans' running game, whether it's with the King or not, affects, I guess, the strategy of defenses in their coverages and how their plan of attack, or did it stay the same because of the philosophy of the head coach?
Well, the thing I like about this year, if you're thinking about being one of those run first teams, is the league is being engineered to stop Kansas City, and
Right.
that means that like when you look at teams that have beaten the Kansas Cities of the world, that have beaten the Buffaloes. Buffalo is just a weaker version of Kansas City, in my opinion. Who's beaten those teams? Well, the Colts have beaten the Bills. The Titans have beaten the Bills. The Titans have beaten the Chiefs. When you bring a physicality to the game that's different than what people are used to, it can catch them off guard. And I think that is what the promise that the Tennessee Titans have. And they had that back in 19 as well, right? When they went on the road and beat the Patriots and went on the road and beat the Baltimore Ravens. That's the thing. It's like, can that style of offense win 4 straight games and win a Super Bowl? Well, it wasn't quite good enough in 2019. But like giving you a bye, that means that only needs to win 3 times, and maybe that's a little bit more plausible, especially if Henry comes back healthy.
Wrong with Eric Eager, PFF.
Eric, if John Robinson called you today and said, "Hey, I'm just telling you, nobody else, Eric, we're gonna bring Derrick Henry back to practice tomorrow, and if he looks good, we're trying to decide if we should knock the rust off him on Sunday or not. What do you think we should do?" What would you tell John Robinson?
That's a great question. I'd play him.
You right there with me, Eric. People think I'm dumb, though.
Well, and I know Blaine. I mean, Blaine, you played. What do you think now of all these guys like not playing in the preseason? I mean,
That's
do
exactly
see a lot of
how I
injuries.
approached it.
Yeah, we do. We see a lot of injuries now. We see more injuries now. I think the only thing you have to be concerned about, and actually you are less concerned about it, because there's an interesting story about the Ravens when they thought about when to bring Lamar Jackson back. They didn't bring him back as early as they wanted to because they didn't want him on the airplane. They didn't want him spreading COVID or getting COVID, right? Because there's also that like secondary influence. Now, getting the COVID protocols aren't quite as bad, but like they are, it is a road game, right? If you do take Henry on the road with you, there is that added risk, right? But I would be concerned about a guy who, I mean, look, his physicality is the big part of his game, but like Derrick Henry's also one of the fastest running backs in football. I would be concerned about like a soft tissue injury if he was just to go out there and be 100% right away in the second round of the playoffs. So I'd play him. I'd give him 4 or 5 carries, see how he was. I would not give him a full workload, but I would get him out there and get the blood, pumping one more time for him. And you understand the risks, but there are risks everywhere in football.
Man, I feel a lot smarter now, Eric, because I said the same thing.
He's been saying that. Yeah,
they just like, no, but he probably won't play at all. He probably won't, be cleared. Who knows?
Well, today's his 28th birthday, so happy birthday to the King. We'll see how things work out tomorrow. I wanted to ask you, too, Eric, about the Titans' defense. Just statistically, with the eyeball test, with everything from 19 sacks to 41, it has been remarkable, the turnaround with that unit this year.
Yeah, I think when people looked at that defense and thought to yourselves, okay, where is this going to be? Because I think a lot of people looked in last year how bad they were in the secondary and how hard it was for them to get a pass rush. And like you think back to last season at this time, right? Like we have them at 17th, which I think feels about right defensively. Last year, you remember the Week 17 game against Houston where they're trying to win a division. Houston has nothing to play for, and they're just going back and forth with Deshaun Watson, right? And like, they were basically won the AFC South because they got the ball last, right? And Tannehill hit that bomb to A.J. Brown, and they got the field goal. I think this year you can trust that defense a lot more, right? And I think, when we were going into the year, I think the one thing that we didn't quite price in as well as we should have was the improvement of guys like Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons. Obviously, I think they may be overpaid for Bud Dupree. He's not one of the better players on the D-line, but he adds something to the mix as well. And when you can get a pass rush like that and, you get secondary players that trust the pass rush a little bit, it does wonders for a defense.
Eric Eager, Pro Football Focus, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Eric, I want to talk about another team, and that's the team that I predicted to get the number 1 seed. Now that I was wrong, and that was the bumbling Bengals, and they're not the bumbling Bengals anymore because they have Joe Burrow and a slew of talented players. And I kind of compared Joe Burrow early in his career to, let's just say, when Tom Brady was early in his career, and I'm talking about as a starter because naturally he didn't start initially. Where do you see Joe Burrow? Because I called him a poor man's and potentially the next Tom Brady.
That's a great question. I was at the Chiefs Bengals game. I've been at the last 2 Bengals games, so I got to see the first ever 400 and 4 touchdown back-to-back games. So I'm pretty. He's somebody where I think the best thing that the Bengals have done in the last 2 weeks is let their best player dictate what they're doing, and he is their best player. He is. He has no fear out there. I think he's probably maybe a little bit more physically gifted than Brady. When he runs the football, I think he's very athletic, in my opinion. But yeah, he's got that in him. And you watch that team, man, and I think we all can see it. We've all seen great quarterback play. There are guys like Kirk Cousins who are great talents, but you can tell the team doesn't really rally around him. There are quarterbacks who aren't quite good, but you can tell the team rallies around him. Think like Case Keenum back in the day, right? Like where he's not a good quarterback, but the players rally around him. And then we have both. It's just hard to lose, and I think that's what the Bengals have. In Joe Burrow, I think of him that way. I think he's kind of a cross between Brady and like Phillip Rivers.
Man, I think
he takes chances the way that Phillip Rivers used to, and that's why you see a little bit more interceptions. But you also see the big plays.
Well said there, man. I didn't think about that part of it. But, yeah, I think – and he has this swagger about him that he knows he's good, but he's just going to be, I guess, as humble as you can be when you're that good at this point of his career. I guess I'll move on to, something that I guess is still outside of the Titans realm, and that is AB. I guess tell us what you think the real story is on what happened. And I know that's hard to quantify here because it's AB and maybe he needs just to go get some help. But, some people now are saying that he had an ankle injury and that he was told not to go back in the game. What part of this whole fiasco with AB do you believe? And they haven't released him. So that's kind of odd to me. That means they're sitting there talking to maybe attorneys and everything else and see what they're obligated here if they want to go in that direction.
Yeah, I think it's also one of those things where they know how talented he is.
Yeah.
So they don't want him going to another team in the NFL and him possibly, giving them – because the thing with AB and like one of my friends, Bruce Krakowski, is a former quarterback for the Steelers, and he, a long time ago, he just said, look, like there are some players in this league that people bend over backwards to get them on the field on Sunday, right? And then there are other players who, have to toe the line just to be on the team, right? There's a sliding scale for how good you – and, like, Antonio Brown's one of the best wide receivers in the history of the NFL. Like, they're, from a talent perspective, from a production standpoint. And I think that creates some of the disconnect, right? I mean, if you tell an employee, hey, like, it actually doesn't matter that you falsified a vaccine card, we still want you. Hey, it doesn't matter if this happened, we still want you. Hey, it doesn't matter if this happened, we still want you. And then you turn around and try to hold them accountable for something else, then that's when they can get, that's when the signals are mixed, right? And that's how hard it is to manage people, because people don't have, like, what is fair is not equitable sometimes, right? It's fair probably, the whole joke about Jimmy Johnson where he's like, I'm going to cut this special teams player if he falls asleep in a meeting, and I'm going to tell Troy Aikman to wake up. That's fair, right? But it's not equitable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that those two, crossing over from fair to equitable is really hard to do when you have a player like Antonio Brown who, like, let's just be honest, like, he needs help, right? I mean, and somebody who needs help and you're trying to sort of still get some value out of them, that's a really hard thing to do. And I think that's basically what happened. I think that they were very excited. They need him, right? I mean, Chris Godwin's out for the season. Mike Evans is banged up. They need him. And I think that the incentives were always misaligned from the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't think the incentives was the reason because he still had another game, and so he could have still reached those incentives as far as him personally on his contract. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I guess lastly for us, and it's going to be more of a college question, I know Bama is not favored in this game, which is intriguing to me in itself, but who do you see winning in this Georgia-Bama rematch for the national championship?
Yeah, it's really hard to watch those games on Friday and think, wow, Alabama's the better team, because I thought Alabama really struggled with Cincinnati a little bit. I thought their defense played fine, but their offense really, it was kind of like, watching paint dry with their offense trying to move the ball. and then with Georgia, who completely physically manhandled Michigan. So obviously, I think that's where the markets are looking. The markets opened. So when the markets opened for the SEC championship game, it was Bama was a 3-point underdog to Georgia. And then when Bama almost lost to Auburn, it got up to 6.5. Obviously, Alabama crushes Georgia, right? Then we have this whole month. And then now it's reopened at 3 after seeing what happened Friday. I still would take Alabama. I think Kirby's smart. I mean, the only assistant coach that, Nick Saban has ever lost to was this past year to Jimbo Fisher. So, he still has that edge there. I think the better quarterback is always who I want to bet on in college football. Be that as it may, I do think, Georgia is a physically imposing team that's not going to be an easy out for Bama here.
Mm-hmm. Eric, great stuff, man. Always great catching up with you. Happy New Year, buddy, and we'll talk again soon.
You guys as well. Take care.
Yes,
Appreciate it,
Eric Eager, PFF_Eric from Pro Football Focus. What are the Titans Super Bowl odds? I got them. I found them. Ooh. Yeah, I got them next. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone.
Yeah.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone, rolling through a Tuesday. Titans obviously off today. They'll hit the practice field again tomorrow. So the question will be, will they put Derrick Henry in the return to practice window? Today is his birthday,
put
by
that
the
on
way,
the Blaine and
28
Mickey.
years old.
Twitter. Happy birthday there,
Happy
the
birthday.
King.
He's 28.
You said it's the Twitter handle birthday, too. I didn't know that.
Yesterday, it sent me a tweet. I checked our Twitter account.
Tweet or a reminder?
It told me I am a year old. The Blaine and Mickey Twitter. So
just the handle, because we've been on the show longer than that.
We are old.
You actually confused me. I was like, our show's only been on for a year, man. It sure has been like, he must not have counted the COVID time we were at home.
Didn't count that.
Then I went back and reread it. It said Twitter handle.
Yeah, Twitter told me that our Twitter was a year old. So thanks to everybody who's followed and interacts with us on there.
We finally got a Twitter handle.
So, that took a minute, but here we are. Look at us. So I got curious this morning. The Athletic, they do the thing where they simulate the season. They play the games via computer. They simulate everything however many times. And I thought, okay, there are certain people who say certain things about the Titans. Well, let's see what a computer said. It doesn't care who the Titans are, what market they play in. They don't care.
Good information to know.
Yeah, good. Just
simulations.
Unbiased game simulations. So it has the Chiefs in the AFC with the number one odds to win the Super Bowl, 12.7%. Has them with the number one odds to win the AFC at 25.7%. But both of those are the Titans, and then nobody else is even close. The Titans are second in both, and then nobody in the AFC is even close. The Titans are 20.8% to win the AFC. They're 10.1% to win the Super Bowl. So they're up to double-digit now chance to win the Super Bowl. Out of all the remaining teams, they're 10.1%.
What are the other teams that are ahead of them? Do you have that information?
The Chiefs,
NFC.
The Chiefs in the AFC.
Right, NFC.
And all year long, you've talked about how good the NFC was. We've talked about that a lot, and you've talked about it a lot.
I almost got it wrong, but I think the AFC may be deeper.
It may be deeper. The top of the NFC may be better, but
right.
deeper in the AFC. Number one of everybody is the Packers. 31.3% chance to win the NFC.
Super Bowl.
15.5. So not that much better than the Titans or the Chiefs.
5%.
15.5% chance Packers to win the Super Bowl. They're the highest ranked in both of those things. 33 or 31 and a third, 15.5% conference and Super Bowl. Next behind them is the Rams, who the Titans beat and pushed around. They basically have the same odds as the Titans. 20.5% to win their conference, the NFC.
I got to say something about the Rams, though, real quick on their note. I saw Darren Orlovsky, and they were teammates. Stafford, him were teammates with Detroit. And he is all in on Matthew Stafford. And, Ryan Clark was going at him because of their friendship, and you're being blinded. Because he said, you got to look at his numbers. But ultimately, after, hearing that, jokes aside, he is the most talented quarterback, but we still don't know how he'll handle the playoff-type pressure.
Sure.
Because he wasn't successful there in Detroit. And I get it. You could say, oh, well, he was in Detroit. Well, okay. But we don't know until we see it. So, really talented guy. And guess what he did? Throw a pick six in 3 different games. And a lot of people say, well, he's still really good in the fourth quarter. I'm like, well, he also is a guy who tries to force things because of his arm talent and can also make huge mistakes. So that'll be interesting on a rematch there. And that would be lovely that the Titans play the Rams in repeat fashion, except old Kurt Warner and the Underdog movie got to go a-skipping.
Not walking through that door, are they? No Isaac Bruce walking through that door.
No, and no
Torrey Holt. No Marshall Faulk. Good gracious.
You just...
It's all Hall of Famers.
I don't even want to tell you what twitched when you just said Marshall Faulk. I'm like, oh. And I would just say it was in my lower extremity of my back.
No, they still had Kevin Carter at that time. Yikes.
Yeah. Well, I got to run because I needed to be running faster out there.
Well, you didn't get to finish that game. I think that the outcome is different if there's more hitman out there.
We never know, do we?
We don't know. The Rams 10.6 to win the Super Bowl. So the only 3 teams with better odds to win the Super Bowl right now are the Packers, the Chiefs, then the Rams, then the Titans. Those are the only teams that have double-digit chances to win the Super Bowl. There are 4 of them based on the athletic simulations.
Wow.
Packers, KC, Rams, Titans. Not even the Buccaneers. They're third in the NFC in both of those categories.
One quick question. I know you probably know the answer. If the King plays the last game, does that change the odds? I know the Titans are favored by a lot. And does that play into the Super Bowl odds, or do we not know that yet?
We don't know, but it has to. I mean, it has to. And maybe that's something we can get into on the other side. Just having the King and Julio out there, just both of their bodies on the field, able to do something.
Just a threat.
Just a threat.
Well, we got to get production out of the King, but Julio, just give us like 5 catches, please. Just please, Julio. I know you got 5 in you. 5 a game.
We can get
he says, well, give me targets first, Blaine.
He said, throw me the ball, Blaine, 5 times. All right, we got to throw you hour number 2. That's next, Blaine and Mickey.
It is 2:03. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans outside linebacker Bud Dupree has been charged with misdemeanor assault after an alleged incident at a local Walgreens after the Titans defeated the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. A video has circulated of the alleged incident courtesy of Broadway Sports Media. Currently, Bud Dupree still a go for the remainder of the season as the Titans prepare to head down to Houston on Sunday and take on the Texans with an opportunity to clinch the 1 seed in the AFC with a victory. As Derrick Henry watch continues on the running back's 28th birthday today, the Titans are discussing designating him to return to practice this week. No news on that front. The Preds are on the West Coast for the next 3 games starting tonight at the Vegas Golden Knights. Puck drop is at 9 p.m. Nashville currently second in the Central Division behind the St. Louis Blues. In college hoops, Vanderbilt opens its SEC slate tonight, hosting the Arkansas Razorbacks in Memorial Gym, a 7:30 tip-off. Meanwhile, Lipscomb starts ASUN play at Allen Arena, hosting North Alabama, a 7 p.m. tip. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Tuesday to you. Sunny, shining, chilly day in the Music City. Thanks for hanging out with us on Blaine and Mickey. Great stuff from Eric Eager earlier. Wherever you consume your podcasts, I've been consuming a lot of cake lately. I consume that just out of a Tupperware container.
I see. It must have went right to your guns.
Yeah, man. My guns are swole. I'm swole right now. If you're on Zone TV, just drink in the swollenness.
I thought I was really referencing that it was a carrot cake and it got your little son.
I don't eat carrot cake. I don't eat sweet stuff made out of vegetables. No.
Oh, that's right.
You know I have rules for food. I don't eat carrot cake or zucchini bread.
You're eater.
I don't eat food made out of fabric, red velvet. I don't eat it.
You don't?
No.
Oh, those are so good.
I knew you were going to say it.
I'm
like
all
carrot
in.
cake, don't you?
Yeah, they do.
I knew it.
It's you know why? Sugar.
This is a person who can break down the various types of honey buns like you can break down defenses.
Man, I need those extra sugars when I was playing. Yeah, I need all those extra sugars. You know, when you get tired, that sugar comes in handy.
We've been through this before, but we'll start the show with this. Honey bun, the one with the white stuff or the one with the clear stuff? And I know you've explained this before.
I got duped. I don't even know if I'm right. I got duped. I always thought that the white icing was more, but it's really the clear that is sweeter and better. You know, it's all because its perception is like it has icing. I see it. I know it's there. The clear is I can't see it.
I knew that. I remembered you saying that because I said it's got to be the white, and you're like, no, the white's it's fake. The white's not real. I mean, you think it is because look, this whole thing's dipped in something.
Yeah,
and then you got dipped in lies.
Yeah,
because it's the clear kind. Yeah, they're just the varnish, the sugar varnish.
Yeah. So they're both really good though. You know, Bill. All right? Before we start, what is your favorite dessert then?
You mean like something out of a machine, like a honey bun, or just anything?
No, just anything, like a cake. You know. What's your cake? You're not into the cake?
Oh no, no.
You try to decide from all the cakes that are out there.
I mean, I don't like carrot cake or red velvet.
Oh, chocolate cake?
Any kind of chocolate cake. I like chocolate cake with white icing.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, what? I know. Don't say like the old school white birthday cake icing with chocolate.
No, like not the grocery store birthday cake icing.
Okay.
Although a couple of them, like the buttercream icing, I like that better than the one that's whatever the other one is. Oh. But I like chocolate cake, white icing, chocolate cake with chocolate icing.
Oh, my.
Publix has good cake. They've got like white cake with raspberry sauce in it that's fantastic. It's like white cake, white chocolate icing, and raspberry.
But you don't like chocolate cake with chocolate icing.
That's probably like my third chocolate choice. It's just too much. It's just too much.
Too much chocolate?
Lonzo's killing me. Red velvet is fire.
Oh, man, red velvet. Oh, man.
His own TV chip.
And carrot. Carrot can get a little too much. You got to have a taste for it that day. But that's okay. I got you on that. But the red velvet, it's the die.
Isn't red velvet sort of chocolate? It's in the neighborhood of chocolate, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that Lucas is our foodie? He posts videos of him making macaroni noodles on New Year's Eve. Or penne pasta, whatever.
Baked ziti.
Baked ziti.
Yeah, it looked yummy though.
Somebody's got to know this. Now Lonzo is saying coconut cake is the bomb. That's the other cake that I'm not a big coconut guy. You making the face. You're not a coconut
I mean,
guy.
I got to be in the mood for it.
Okay.
Mhm.
What would put you in the mood for coconut cake?
Cocoa Puffs. No, I haven't had coconut cake in forever. So if somebody had some, and I was like, oh, okay, I haven't had it in a long time. So yeah,
Okay.
that's probably the only way I get in the mood for it.
Okay, let me ask you this, and Lucas, this is for you too, because you have citizenship there. My grandmother used to make this cake. My Harrisburg, Arkansas, live at the end of a gravel road grandmother used to make what she called Italian cream cake.
Italian. Is this a thing, Lucas?
Have you ever had
Tell us this is not that true. That's not a thing.
No, I'm not familiar. It could be something else that that's what she called it, but I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Italian cream. Somebody help me.
She duped you.
It was just cake. And
She
it
was
had
really trying to say, I made this. It is not Italian, but it's my version of Italian.
It was
Italian.
It was like tan color.
It is it's a vanilla cake with coconut and pecans baked in it.
Pecans.
No,
Yeah.
that is illegal. You're out. That's X. You are looking at your phone and had to go Google that. No way.
But it exists,
I
though.
Googled it, yeah.
It exists,
I did
though.
the
When
research.
you Google,
It
knows
does
everything.
exist. It does exist.
Oh, my.
If you Google
I'm starting to question Lucas's Italian background.
there's Italian cream cake.
There's
I
a
mean,
lot of
just say
things
it
with
the right way. and you're-
the word Italian, like Italian ice, is you know,
Sure,
you
I know.
ask someone in Italy what Italian ice is, like I don't know, just ice that you put in your water in Italy.
My elementary school in Arkansas served every other Thursday Italian spaghetti, as if there's another kind. That's what the menu said. Italian spaghetti, which even then, as a tiny redneck in rural Arkansas, I thought, is there another kind? Like, why would they say that?
It's got to be good spaghetti then. If you're gonna put that,
isn't that redundant? I mean,
I'm guessing it was very average school served spaghetti. So just call it spaghetti. Don't insult us like that.
What are you doing, man?
I don't know.
We should have never got into the food, man.
Blaine likes the clear honey buns.
Man, I'm getting a temperature here, man. We got to turn the lights down in here, man. I'm getting hot.
Did your grandmother, who is Italian, ever make something that she just called cream cake, and the Italian was implied?
Not necessarily. My grandmother is not a huge dessert maker. She makes everything else, and it's all amazing.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay. Google knows everything.
Yeah. Lucas gets an X because he did not keep us on the railroad track today. Talking about food. Oh, man.
All right.
Man, speaking of that, I want to go get some Italian cream cake right after this.
Michael
So
says,
where's
"Have
the
you
best
guys?"
place?
Michael says in the Sun TV chat, "Have you guys ever had Mexican tacos,
Man.
Italian pizza, Southern catfish?"
Yeah.
Okay.
No. There you have it.
Okay. Hey, Susan from Franklin is on the.
She's going to help us out. She's going to help us out.
Please,
on the
dear
desserts.
Lord.
Please help us
Help
on the
us,
dessert.
Susan.
Coconut.
Okay, Mickey. I'm here to stand up for Mickey, who's my favorite person on 104.5.
Oh, thank you, Mom, if this is you.
Well, he's mine, too. I don't know where you are on the list.
I
Please
used
help
to
us.
like Blaine, but now that he doesn't like Italian cream cake, I have ruled him out.
Well, thank you there. I appreciate that.
Okay.
For ruling me out.
Okay, tell people I'm not crazy. This is a real thing, right? That Southern people
Italian
make.
cream cake. When I learned to make Italian cream cake, I made it every year for Christmas for many years for my family, and it is absolutely delicious. And you just cannot bash it. It is delicious. Whether you want to call it Italian or preferably Italian, it is one delicious cake, and it is perfect during the holidays. And it does kind of have a brownish look, and it has coconut and pecans, but it is absolutely delicious.
Oh, where do you get yours, or do you make it? Do you make it, or
I make it.
I
make it.
But
Yes,
do you know
I
some of
make
the best places to go get it? If I did want to go get some, I might go this
I
weekend.
do not know. I cannot tell you that, but I'm sure a local bakery, any local bakery, one of the bakeries in Brentwood or one of the bakeries in Franklin, would be able to make it for you, and you would not regret it. I'm here to tell you, you would enjoy every
Susan.
minute of it.
Uh-oh.
Even though it doesn't have any chocolate in it, Mickey. It
I
doesn't
know.
have any chocolate.
It's okay, Susan. I'll tell you this. One of my favorite places in the world to go is Litton's, which is in Fountain City outside of Knoxville. I don't know the Knoxville suburbs that well. And it's a hamburger place. And they have the best like bacon cheeseburger you've ever had. Their French fries are like a potato that they cut up that morning.
Okay.
The bun is from a bakery, but
I'm waiting for the cake part.
they have a whole cabinet full of cake, and they have on the cabinet
Italian cream cake.
Italian cream cakes. I almost got some to think about my grandmother last time I was there.
I won't be driving that far, but
Well,
we'll
listen,
now light up
now,
the
Mickey-
colors.
Mickey, you know something great that's happening shortly here in Nashville.
What is that?
Help us out. What is it?
You open up your own bakery.
Oh, opening a Whataburger is what you're getting at.
Better. Whataburger, yes. I read that yesterday. Whataburger in Hermitage. And there are going to be 7 others opening shortly. And I just wanted to say to that, do you think we didn't used to have Whataburger here in Nashville? We did have Whataburger. But I am so glad that it's coming back.
Oh.
Susan, you were the best. Happy New Year to you. And some of these times we got to sample some of this Italian cream cake that your family gets. Oh,
That's the big thing.
Go tight.
What a great season we've had, and I can't wait for the playoffs.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Susan.
Man, we need to ask someone what's some best places to go get this Italian cream cake.
Somebody, DB Dirty says Julia's in Murfreesboro is and this just died. The screen died. It'll be Julia's in Murfreesboro is the place to go for cakes. Buttermilk Sky is solid as well. Now, Buttermilk Sky makes pie, but I didn't know about that.
Y'all got me hungry.
Publix has Italian cream cake, says Vicky on here.
Ooh, I may go try that.
I'm going to find my grandmother is baking cakes for Jesus now. But maybe my mom knows how to make it. My grandmother just left a note, like a handful of this and a pinch of that. Maybe we can cobble one together. I'll bring
some on my way home.
You got me in the mood for some tiramisu now. So I'm just thinking about
some Italian tiramisu.
Oh my God,
tiramisu.
Yeah, Italian tiramisu.
Let's talk one sports thing with Kenny the mailman right quick on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline before Coach Mack joins us. Hey, Kenny.
Hello, dear friends. Oh,
What's
man, Coach Mack is awesome to hear he's fixing to come in. He's
Yes,
the
sir.
best.
Mm-hmm.
Need a quick info and then a comment. My info I need, we're thinking about going to the Buffalo Wild Wings tonight in Nashville West. Do y'all know which player will be there?
Ooh, that's Lucas Banzikas.
I can try and find out.
All right, I'll be listening and say it on there. And second, I've already heard the comment that this year the Tennessee Titans would be the absolutely worst top seed ever to earn that spot. Have y'all heard that?
Mm-hmm.
So there are people saying that. Some of the analytical type guys are saying that, Kenny.
How can you be the worst and then you're number one?
Right.
Yeah. And that's sort of like saying, gee, I'm married to the ugliest Miss Universe ever.
Right, that's exactly. Thank you,
It's still a win, isn't it?
The worst Italian cream cake my grandmother ever made. Which all of them
so
would be
it's
great.
like you can keep your objective lists and everything, subjective list to yourself. If a team earns it, they earn it.
Amen. Hey, it's Roger Saffold on with the 3HL crew tonight at B-Dubs.
Oh, man, I bet he can put the wings away.
I would like to see that. Yeah, it'd be some wing destruction with that big
All
guy.
my best to y'all, and can't wait to hear Coach Mack.
Kenny, thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate you. Kenny the mailman, one of the OG callers. All right. Coach Mack is up next. He's an OG Coach Mack, and we'll talk Titans right around the bend here on Blaine and Mickey.
Man.
All right, I'm talking to you. If you've never been to a Nashville Predators game this season, well, I mean, yesterday was the time, but now really is the time. You need to make it a New Year's resolution. I'm not a big New Year's resolution guy, but if you just want to get your socks rocked off and you want to have a great time, you need to make it a New Year's resolution to go to a Predators game. It's a true story. My mom, my nephews came to see me, and I took them to a Predators game. None of them had ever been to a hockey game at any level ever. They thought that was the greatest thing they had ever seen in their lives. That's a Predators game. There's nothing like it. They put on a show. There's music. There's all kinds of crazy experiences. The Preds home game schedule coming up. You need to check it out. You need to get tickets to some of these matchups. The Penguins, the Red Wings, the original hated rival of the Predators, St. Louis Blues, plenty of hate for those guys. Go to NashvillePredators.com to see all the upcoming games. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. And let the Predators come and hear you belt it out as they battle for first place in the NFC Central. We were talking about too much football in their Central Division. They're 1 point out of first right now. So get your tickets, get to Smashville, and enjoy yourself in the friendly confines with all the other Preds fans. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Yeah, I appreciate roughly 500 of you who have tweeted me about the openings of Whataburger in the area. I do love that stuff. Coach Mack is in here now. He's eat up with it too, Coach. You and me going to have to make some road trips up to Hermitage till we can get one a little closer.
Well, we need to get Whataburger to bring something in here in the studio. That's what we need to do. I mean, I grew up with it in Texas. I mean, when they opened up here in Hermitage, I mean, I was like, not only yes, but hell yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Scale of 1 to 10. I mean, this stuff is outstanding.
Not yes, hell yes.
There you go.
There it is. Man, when I hear that, I think you're WWE or something, man.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about Whataburger showing up here.
Man,
it's good stuff.
It was like you and Mike Keith had a sack of Whataburger up there in the booth on Sunday. My Lord, you guys were having some fun with that game.
Well, I mean, we have fun. Yeah. And, of course, those guys are the professionals, and I just am Coach Mack up there. But and it's especially fun. I mean, these crowds this year, these fans, I mean, both there and the comments we get, from people that are listening on it's outstanding. And when your team is winning, and especially I think people I know fans here appreciate the toughness of this football team, both mentally and physically, because what they have been throughout this season, as far as, using the 88 or 89 players, which fractures a record, it still blows my mind. And then all the COVID issues that everybody is dealing with, and they just continue to persevere. And they hit a rough patch. They hit a rough patch when they were, going through all the turnovers, and you had a lot of people, and I'm at practice every day, and it's getting to a point as to when and myself and Mike Keith don't know who players are when they come out to practice. Right. That it's getting a little bit different. And so I know that our fan base really appreciates it, and I promise you, Mike Vrabel and his staff and the players appreciate these fans. These fans have been outstanding in this run, and it's only going to start increasing. Rhett Bryan is in there right now. He's starting to work on some stuff, the music and I mean, you can just some of the stuff that he's doing now with the crescendo stuff is just like it's building around here. We got to go take care of the Texans. That's what has to happen first.
That's for sure.
It's fun.
How much fun did you have watching the defense, and really just watching the defense down the stretch? And as this season has gone on, Coach, I sent you a video, Brian Baldinger, of 2 minutes and 20 seconds of Big Jeff and Danico and Bud Dupree and those guys just blowing guys off the ball.
Well, I mean, I just did my, beneath the surface thing for Microsoft, for the Titans All Access, and had 5 plays and was concentrated on the physicality of what this team is on both sides of the ball. I mean, look, and Blaine's eyes are getting big over there because when you got guys that can rush like that, and you can do anything you want back there in coverage. And the other thing is, I mean, just like David Long's interception, that was just roll call to the ball. That's what that is. And when you have a defense that feeds off of each other's energy, that's when you have a really good defense. And that's what they've got. I mean, I've been involved with those. Blaine's been involved with those. This is one of them. And we started talking about it in training camp. You could see the energy of this defense. And it's Shane Bowen has done a tremendous job with this defense, but the players themselves have been really good. And they've had pieces that they've had to insert. But the plus of all of that is now they've got people that have played. They have people that have played a lot of different areas. I mean, they've got those nice packages now. Well, once you get Cunningham in there at the same time, and you got Rashaan Evans, and you got Jayon in there, and you got David Long in there. I mean, those are nice packages, and then you're able to get Crookshank out there and on the tight ends, and you start doing some things. And guys, we talked about it because last year, and I don't want to go back to last year because I'd never live in the past in the National Football League, but you knew that you had to get more dudes to make it work. You got to have dudes to make this work, and you got to have dudes that all buy in. Well, they've got dudes that buy in right now, and it's a lot of fun. But the physicality, how about that offensive line being together for the first time for an entire game? And they were just hammering. Look, that 21-yard touchdown run that Deontay had, that was Miami was lined up in a 46 defense. I mean, they covered the center and both guards, and that was a solid front 46 look.
His eyes just got big again. You said 46 defense.
No, they had everybody.
How are they able to run against that?
Thank you. And they had everybody packed in there, and then the way that right side of the offensive line came off, and then the thing that was so cool, if you really dissect it, that play is they came off, and then what Foreman did so well, it was an outside zone. He made that that little fake step to the left to get that second level to nod a little bit, and then they came off to the second level. And then watch the receiver out there on the outside. I mean, it is – look, this football team is a physical team, and when you talk about physicality, you're talking about the entire team. I'll tell you one of the best plays of the whole game that I liked that set the tone was the first tackle on the kickoff coverage. You know how hard that tackle
Chris
is?
Jackson?
Yes, you know how hard that tackle is to make on a returner in the open field? And, I mean, he did it. I mean, he faced him up, chested him up, and just bug splatted him on the windshield. And to me, that is exactly what you want to do, but that's how they live up there. That's how they live. And still during practice, in individual, they practice come to balance tackling. They're still in fundamentals. That's why this is a good football team, because they're mentally and physically tough from everything down. Ownership, right on down.
Y'all getting the Mac attack right now. Dave McGinnis, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price? Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They got you covered, just like Coach Mac has us covered every week.
Yes, Coach Mac always has us covered. Got me fired up over here. With all that being said, what you just put in a capsule and a summary about players, fundamentals, being dogs, going out there and crushing people and destroying people. Man, I'm having a tough time coming up with who's the Titans' offensive and defensive MVPs.
I can give the MVP.
Give us
I can give the MVPs right now. Locker room.
Locker room.
Yeah.
So that means the head coach.
Well,
captains.
How's the head coach not the coach of the year? I mean, and to me, this is the organization of the year for what they've been through. I mean, you just look at it and the number of players. I mean, and the buy-in. Blaine, you were in a locker room that brought all. You were in a locker room that's that solid because everybody was bought in. And here's the other thing: if you don't fit in, then you stick out like a sore thumb. And so that's the mentality of the people that John Robinson and his group have brought in. How about his pro personnel department, the people they've brought in and have found during – I mean, both of the running backs we have now that have been over 100 yards in these games, I mean, they were unemployed. And so they had to go out and find these guys and say these guys will fit into not only what we do structurally, these guys will fit into what we do fundamentally, and these guys will fit into what we do culture-wise. These are the kind of guys that we need. And it's not easy to find those guys, especially when you're into a must situation, when you're down so many people. So you ask me who the MVP is, Titans organization right now, in my opinion.
If you want to talk to Coach Mac, Mickey, they can call
615-737-1045.
No doubt about it. I guess, what would be your approach, Coach Mac, being a former DC and head coach, going into this final game with just the players that you have on how much you're going to play them, not play them, you got to win to get first seed. Kind of take us through the thought process of a coach. Or don't tell your team at all, and maybe once you're taking care of business, come middle of the third quarter, you say, all right, let's take some of these guys out and put some other guys in without telling them.
No, you got to go full bore.
Got a full bore. Okay.
Got to go full bore. I mean, this is full bore because you've ebb and flowed this season. I mean, you had a great start. You beat some really good teams early. Then because of a lot of issues, just turnovers basically, you were giving the ball away. Then all of a sudden you hit a lull where you lost ball games that you were going to have to make up for, and so you go full bore. I mean, they're full bore right now in meetings. They're full bore right now in practice, and they will be full bore on Sunday until the ball game is ours. And that's just the way this head coach and this group works, and I know that.
Well, we don't know if the King will be active or possibly be active for starting to work out and practice or whatever that means. But what would be your approach if he is active? Would you play him the last game?
Well, here's the thing. First of all,
if you knew,
and they will do that. They'll find out how he feels.
Oh, got you. Well, yeah, he's part of the equation.
Well, he's all of it. He's all of it because the medical people can say all they want. But and again, Blaine, it's like you were when you were a veteran. You knew your body, and if you say you could play, then Jeff Fisher knew you could play.
Right.
All right, and so so they're going to ask him. And finally, because once you get medical clearance, it's still up to a player, and especially now a younger player may have to be guided a little bit more what it's going to take. Derrick Henry, look, is a premier player. He knows how to take care of his body, and what happened to him was a very freak injury. But Derrick Henry, what his mindset is. he's been working to get to this point, and you know that. And so you just you feed off of him as to what he wants to do. What you would really like to do, you would really like to be able to have the luxury of having that first week bye, because that gives you a little bit more time. If in fact it says, you know what, let's take another look. And you got to remember this: if you activate him for the game and only play him a few plays, well, that's a spot.
Yeah.
That you're taking from, and right now when they're playing ball games, they're using every spot. You can't find anybody that's suiting up that's not playing with this team right now just because of where they are.
Oh man, good stuff here with the Mac Attack Coach Mac from Titans Radio. And I guess that's really, I wanted to know, had you ever seen a defense, and we talked about this off air, and you've been talking about it a little bit, but the Titans turnaround on this defense. Had you ever been a part of something like that when you were actually coaching? I don't know what the Bears or Arizona, or when you've been the head coach or assistant coach, had you ever been a part of that process where one year you're the worst, defense, then the next year you're one of the best?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm talking to you now as a coach to a player and two defensive guys. When you're defensively not successful, you take that as an injury to your manhood. You know it, and I know it. And professional athletes, I mean, that is something. That's something that with what happened last season, that aided everybody involved. Because again, if you are going to be a physical football team on both sides of the ball, then you've got to hold up your end of it defensively. The thing that and have I been part of it? Yes, I absolutely have. But what you have to do is you have to stay solid. They didn't panic. What they did was go out and get some more pieces and get some dudes healthy. But they realized where they were lacking, being able to have pieces to make it work. And then they didn't panic. And the other thing they didn't do, they didn't dwell on it. But they did. Everybody, listen behind the lines of when Kevin Byard talked early in the season. Listen behind the line when some of those guys talked. They were very understated, but they said we weren't happy with that. We weren't happy with that. And then they weren't just talking about it. And I've sat here and talked with you guys during training camp. You could tell that. I mean, they were practicing at speed in training camp, because they knew that's what it was going to take. But you had to get dudes too. So it all comes together. But have I been a part of it? Absolutely. And I can say this, I've been the part of it as to where you weren't good, and I know how, as a defensive coach, all of my life, I know how bad that eats at you in an off season if you didn't hold up your end of the bargain.
Well, with Coach Mac giving us the Mac Attack.
Sure are. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045. We have 6-1 from Nashville on that hotline who's got a question for Coach Mac. 6-1, thanks for checking in.
Absolutely. Can you gentlemen hear me today?
Yes, 6-1, we've got you, man. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Man, it's a pleasure to be here. Coach Mac, I just want to let you know that I thoroughly enjoy the broadcast on the radio, that when I watch the game, the television goes down, and I listen to you guys broadcast. Y'all bring so much more excitement to the game, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you, 6-1. That's very kind of you. And as I say, I'm just very fortunate to work with the professionals that I do up there. The Titans fan base has embraced me for these 5 seasons. I just did my 100th game, the 49er game. And so I absolutely love what I do. But I love what I do because I love where I am doing it. And I appreciate that very much.
And when you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life.
Amen.
6-1. Seriously, and we'll get to your question. I've never worked a day in my life. I went to college on a full scholarship. I played ball. I started coaching, and I got through coaching after 40 years and 31 years in the National Football League. And now I'm broadcasting NFL games and living in Nashville. How hard is that life?
Man, you living the dream. That's it right there. Stamp that.
That's right.
But
Stamp
I tell
that.
you, man, so my question is, and I was like, so when the Titans win this Super Bowl, and they will win, y'all can make sure y'all say that 6-1 said that. So when they win the Super Bowl, all the players that we've been cycling in and out, over 80-some-odd players, cycling in and out, whether they're still on the team or not, do these gentlemen get a Super Bowl ring since they contributed to the season?
6-1. That's a very interesting
Good
question, and that's a very interesting question, because if you're active or on injured reserve, okay, first of all, those people do get it all. Mm-hmm. Now, if you've been with the team and then you're not on the team, I think it just depends on what the level of your contribution, and then there's only so much that's allocated by the league, and then the rest of it is up to ownership. I mean, it really is. But to me, going through 89, they probably all won't get. I mean, I don't know. It's not my decision. I mean, all I know is this. Here's what I know. We beat the Texans this weekend, and we start moving forward, and that issue is presented when this is all over. That's a great, great issue to have.
Coach Mack, we got time for one more question, and Jack from East Nashville will ask it. Jack, thanks for calling.
Happy New Year to all you guys.
Thank you, Jack.
I love listening to you and Mike. It's the best team they've ever had, and they've had some good ones, but you and Mike together, it's just a perfect match.
Jack, that's very kind of you, and believe me, I'm humbled by this, and I get this a lot, and I believe me, it makes me feel good because I love doing it, and I really enjoy that people very much enjoy it. And as I said, I'm so fortunate. Look, I came in here and I got paired with a Hall of Fame play-by-play guy, and so what have I got to do other than just be myself? And I just love the fact that people love it. But as much as you like listening to Mike Keith, I like listening to Mike Keith too. I have a pretty good time up there doing that. Thank you, Jack.
Jack, what's your question?
What's your question?
I want to know, knowing where the guy come from, do you remember where Port Neches grows and Thomas Jefferson High School are, Coach?
I know Port Neches. Absolutely. I absolutely know Port Neches Grove.
That's where I'm from.
Well, hey, let me tell you something too, Jack. Now, you've seen some high school ball in Port Neches. I promise you. You've seen some high school ball down there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Friday night, PNG went to the state championship early 70s.
Yeah, absolutely they did.
In Astrodome, which sold out for what was then the big 4A. There wasn't 5A back then.
Yes.
The 4A high school championships, and they put up a billboard, last person out of Port Neches, turn off the lights.
Turn off the light. Who'd Port Neches play in that state championship?
Permian.
Look, and let me tell you, they turned the lights out in Permian too. I promise you. In Odessa, Texas, they turned the lights out too. You didn't even need street lights because all of those lights on those cars that were following that team bus all the way from Odessa to Houston, I promise you. Look, the state playoffs in Texas have always been played at the largest venue that you can in Texas.
Always.
And always. And it's as I say, I grew up in Snyder, Texas, right out there in that Permian Basin. And Friday Night Lights is a real thing. Believe me, you know it.
Do they do it in Jerry World now?
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
Wow.
That's the biggest place they can do it, right?
Yeah, I've been living up here since 1990, so I guess I don't keep up with it as much. And the other thing is, me and you have got to get somehow a metro ordinance to get real chicken fried steak somewhere here in Nashville.
You know, thank you, Jack. I ate so much chicken fried steak growing up, riding those buses back and forth to high school games. But let me tell you how we did it at the Snyder Tigers. If the Snyder Tigers went and won, if you went and beat Big Spring or Lamesa or Leveland or Lubbock or Estacada, if you won those games, guess what you got to do? You got to eat chicken fried steak after the game. I mean, it was outstanding. But if the Snyder Tigers came out on the back end of the game, take a shower, get in the bus, we're going home. You're not eating chicken fried steak tonight. So believe me, we fought awful hard, not only to win the game, but to get those chicken fried steaks. Chicken fried steak, baked potato, Coke, French fries, grew up on it.
Man, let's hope they eat some chicken fried steak on Sunday after beating the Texans, Coach.
I'm all for it. I'll buy them chicken fried steaks for that win.
Coach, we got to let you go. This has been fun. The time just flew by. We'll be listening on Sunday just like we always are. Fantastic stuff.
Thanks, guys. I really wanted to come in, just be in the studio with you guys today. I hadn't been in the studio with you guys for a while. I wanted to come see you. Thanks, guys. You're the best.
This wasn't any fun at all, was it? We'll be right back on the way out. You want to weigh in on something on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Also, it's a big milestone for a Titan today. We'll tell you who and what next.
Ooh.
Got my buddy Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert, on the line. Ryan, it's a new year. How about everybody celebrating that by saving some money? That's a good way to start a year.
You better believe it. In fact, I think it's most folks, their New Year's resolution, right? Lose weight, get in the gym, save money, all that. I can't take you to the gym as much as I'd love to take us all there, but I can, if you're a homeowner, show you how to save money. Mortgage rates, again, dropped. All-time historic low levels are right there. We teeter-tot right there. And home values are just huge, right? Just think about what everybody's been selling for in your neighborhood. So you got these high home values. You have these super low mortgage rates. And I mean it when I tell you there's never been a better time at looking at a refinance. Maybe you're ready to get an interest rate drop, interest rate reduction, get down to that 2.25% range. How much would that save you? Our average client with a simple rate reduction refinance, just dropping your rate, saved over $350 each month last year. So our average client with a rate reduction refinance saved over $350 a month. That adds up. And then maybe some cash out. You got that equity there, right? The houses are selling so much. Our average client received over $50,000 in cash with a simple cash out refinance. So think on those numbers, the rest of the day. What would you do with an extra $350 a month? What would you do with an extra $50K? And then just take 5 minutes. Go to thehomeloanexpert.com. That's thehomeloanexpert.com. Research our company a little bit, read about our products, read about our service, read the testimonials, and then fill out the 5-minute loan application. And then you put us to work for you right away. We will get to work. We'll put together your options. We'll give you a call back or we'll email you back. Hey, here's what we can do. We can drop your rate from 3.75 to 2.25, save you $400 a month, and get $5,000 in cash out. Close it in 21 days or less, guaranteed. That's how you start the year off right. Start saving now. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert, is a Tennessee residential mortgage licensee. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. What did I miss here on the Welcome Back Cotter theme? Are we welcoming somebody back to something?
It's Mace. It's a good song.
Okay, all right. Well, usually you're pointed sometimes with your music. I didn't know if you were leading us somewhere. Are you welcoming Jim Harbaugh back to the NFL possibly? Is that what that's about?
I don't know. Maybe.
Bruce Feldman reporting that he could be tempted to leave the Wolverines to take the Las Vegas Raiders job.
Really?
Yes, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, that's my boo. Nah, just kidding. He's a good dude. We got inducted to the Senior Bowl Hall of Fame, so keep in contact here and there. He's always like good win or loss, and then he'll always finish with onward through our texting. That's his deal.
That dude, his dad, Western won the 1AA football championship in 99 or 2000. Jack Harbaugh was the coach. He was a staff member for Western.
Right.
So he would help them recruit, and he had to take all the tests.
I think he also got him the Nike contract, right?
He gave them.
Yeah.
He had a FILA contract.
FILA. Oh,
and he
that's what
gave it to them. They were the only team in the country that had FILA football uniforms. But he did a story with me or two. When he come back, he would always hang out with me. I saw him years later, and he was the coach at the University of San Diego. I was at a Chargers game at the concession stand buying a hot dog. He was in line next to me, and he said, "I know you. You're the TV guy from Bowling Green. What in the world are you doing here?" That's the kind of guy he is. He remembered me 5 years later, 6.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I know a lot of people make fun of him, kind of quirky, but he's a great person. Yeah, I think he's given all his extra bonus money and his salary to the employees of Michigan University who had to take pay cuts. I think he got, $300,000 or so, whatever it was, the number. So, yeah, hey.
Quirky dude, but still, if you know him, that's a good dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A really good dude. Derrick Henry, by all accounts, a very good dude. Today is his 28th birthday, and I said it was a milestone for a Titans player. It's also the 9th week to the day from his surgery.
Today?
28th birthday and 9th week since his surgery.
Oh, so they said only 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
The letter of the law.
6 to 10.
We all know injuries are here or there depending on the person and how they heal and everything else.
6 to 10.
What are the odds that you think he's going to play?
Well, they practice tomorrow. So
we'll find out even if he dresses, you think he'll play? I mean, or if they take him off the injury list. Let's start there. If they take him off, what do you still think the odds are of him playing in the actual game?
Well, if they take him off, I would think anything's on the table. If they take him off tomorrow, because they could wait another week, they could say if he's not going to play, because once you go in, it's 21 days. You have a 21-day window to get off of IR to practice and see how you're doing. They might wait one more week, and then literally that would put him almost up to the Super Bowl with his 21-day window. So for sure, you're not going to play him no matter what, then don't activate him tomorrow. Just hold him till the next week, then activate him on that Wednesday. I mean, heck, that'd be, 8 days from now. Buy him 8 more days. If you waited till next Wednesday, hocus pocus, you're off the list. So this would add 8.
Unless he says, I feel pretty good. You want to play? I think I do. Why do you want to play? This game doesn't matter. I want to get 1,000 yards. What? Why want to get 1,000 yards? Because it's on my resume and I don't have 1,000 yards this year. And I'm trying to get somewhere besides the Super Bowl. Also trying to get somewhere that has 3 letters called HOFer.
There's 3 more letters.
And I want to have 1,000 yards on every season I ever played when I was the dude.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Tomorrow will be a very interesting day, so stay tuned to The Zone all day and stay tuned to The Zone next because RHL's coming up and they got Roger Saffold and they'll be eating chicken wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. It's going to be fun. They'll get you the rest of the way home.
I want to see the king.
I want to say, like we always do,
Peace, King.